I saw this story about a Christian woman. Her name is Taylor Trice, and she was making headlines in conservative media this week, maybe last week, because she insisted on TikTok that she was fired from a Starbucks in North Carolina in 2022. And she was telling the story about it now. And she said she was fired because she was a Christian. And I'm going to play for you just a little bit of what she was saying here, and then we'll talk about it.
Starbucks enforced this new policy that basically we had to use everyone's preferred pronouns, specifically, for transgender people. And, I care a lot about my faith. I take my faith seriously, and I try to be as much like Jesus as I can. Obviously, it doesn't always work out, but I knew that I just could not cross those lines because according to my faith, you're not supposed to lie, and God made male and female, and basically I just could not lie about a man being a woman or a woman being a man.
Yeah, sure. So she says she was fired because of her Christian faith. And anytime anyone says that, like, all your spidey senses should be tingling, because that's not a thing that happens ever. Like, no one gets fired for being Christian, not realistically. And you could tell from what she was saying, she was basically fired for something involving bigotry, and now she's using religion as an excuse to make her bigotry seem acceptable. And here's basically what she was going for. I'm going to show you this image. This is from Fox News Digital, but they got a copy of it. And basically, Taylor said that she was working at that Starbucks for like 2 years, never had a problem. And she never had a problem with their pride displays until 2022, when she said there was this wall with various terms on it and their definitions. This is an example of what she's talking about. Let's talk about pronouns. And look at, okay, if you are Starbucks, I don't get why Starbucks is doing this, because I don't want to have a conversation about this. I just want my damn coffee. But okay, look at what they're doing to celebrate Pride. Many people, transgender and cisgender, use pronouns. And they say here at the top, like, pronouns, she, her, he, him, they, them, are more commonly used. But there are newer pronouns, z, zim, and more. They are less common, but still valid. And you can always mix and match. And it says at the bottom, it's a little hard to read, many of our partners wear pronoun pins to help others respect their preference. Okay, fine. So this was like the board that was in her Starbucks. And according to what she told Fox News and what she said in that TikTok, she said to managers, and I'm quoting here, "You guys got to be careful. We got families walking in here and kids are going to read that." To which I want to know, so what? What is going to happen if a kid reads that? Like, what's the worst thing you are worried about here? Who knows? I don't know. I've been to Starbucks. One, I don't read any of the stuff that they're promoting. Two, no one's ever asked me about pronouns. They literally say, "What's your name?" for the order that I tell them. And then I lie and I say, "My name is Bob." And then they write it down. And then 2 minutes later, I have a drink. And then I never have to talk to any of those people ever again. That is how that good interaction works. Like, who is reading through all these things and then destroying themselves? So she said later, company policy is that you have to use the pronouns your customers request. And she says she didn't want to go along with that because, as she said in the video, if I see that you are a man and I call you a woman, that is lying. And she said she's not a liar. And going along with that would be satanic. And she also said later in that video, I didn't show you this because it was like a 3-minute video. She said in that video, sin exists because someone ate the wrong piece of fruit, and that the Holocaust began with small little propaganda too, which I guess is why she doesn't want to acknowledge trans identities to prevent another Holocaust, I guess. I don't know how Christians work. And by the way, that TikTok she put up, She has since taken it down. I don't think she liked the fact that everyone was criticizing her nonsense. And also, it's very clear, like, what is the reason she got fired? It seems pretty obvious from the articles that have been written about her that she was not fired for being a Christian. She was not fired because of how she she didn't call one customer by their preferred pronoun or something like that. It's because her managers cited complaints from coworkers. Like, not a joke. There were, I want to make sure uh, I'm getting this in here somewhere. Uh, there were, here we go. This is the only thing Starbucks said in response to all this, that they're not going to tell you why she was fired. Of course, they're not going to tell you why she got fired. But this is what Starbucks told Fox. When Fox News Digital reached out to Starbucks, the chain said it's not going to comment on this private employment matter. However, Starbucks has no tolerance for discrimination or harassment of any kind in our stores, and we're committed to fostering an environment where everyone is welcome, valued, and respected. We expect all partners' employees to abide by company policies and standards, including our anti-harassment and anti-discrimination policies. And if you want to read between the lines there, it sounds like she wasn't following those standards that were set to her. I read in other places that she refused to call her colleague by their pronoun, and that there were multiple complaints from customers. And that makes sense. Like, if you're discriminating against other people, you don't get to use your religion as a shield. I guess the bottom line is she fucked around, she found out, and now she's whining about it 2 years later while pretending to be a victim. Like, if you are the reason your workplace is toxic, then you deserve to be fired. That's not complicated. And by the way, she's not filing any lawsuit against Starbucks, probably because she knows she would fail if she tried. And when her TikTok video was still up, I was scrolling through the comments there because they were hilarious, because no one was on her side here, it seemed. And I saw this exchange where one person was saying you should file a lawsuit against Starbucks. And look at what she said here. So would this be a lawsuit? Is religion not protected in the workplace? And she says, yeah, my friend said it could, but I was trying to be nice. Yeah, that's why she didn't file the lawsuit, a religious discrimination lawsuit, because she just wanted to be nice about it. But now she's totally talking to Fox News all about her persecution, which is hilarious. This isn't even about Starbucks, which, believe me, there's plenty of criticism about Starbucks. This is not one of them. This would have happened at other companies too. They have every right to enforce anti-discrimination, anti-harassment policies. And if she can't abide by them, she doesn't have to work there. Being a Christian has nothing to do with it. Being an asshole at work absolutely has everything to do with it. By the way, I also find it interesting because if you are a barista and working at Starbucks in any capacity, if she says the problem is she doesn't want to condone someone else's sin, I am sure that in the years she worked at that Starbucks, she served people who were divorced, who were gluttons, who had an abortion, whatever she thinks is a sin. She doesn't care about sinners. She's just a transphobe. This isn't complicated. And she seems to think she gets to decide your gender at a glance. And she knows if your pronoun doesn't match her first impression, she thinks she has a God-given right to disrespect you. And I think she thought she was telling people about how she's a victim of a faith-based attack. Instead, she just told on herself and made it clear why companies shouldn't hire people like her who make the lives of their colleagues and customers worse. And if that person happens to be a Christian, that's their own damn fault. Okay, I'm going to pause there. If there are any other questions, sorry for the glitch a second ago. Dan, are there any other questions here to get to? Why don't these people believe that God made everyone the way we are? Because they pick and choose what they believe, and there's no logical consistency to any of it. Just ask the Vatican. Infinite dignity, my ass. They will fire you if you consistently call your coworkers by the wrong pronoun. Yeah, I mean, if you're being a dick to your coworkers, you're going to get fired. Has nothing to do with what you believe in. If you truly believe that you were fired because of your religious beliefs, then put your money where your mouth is and file a lawsuit. I hope she does. I don't know if the statute of limitations on that sort of thing would be expired, but like, yeah, I'm sure there are like conservative legal groups that are like, we'll represent you and get the publicity off of this. And then they would lose because it's not about winning the lawsuit. They're going to lose. There's no religious discrimination happening here. This is just about bigotry. And she deserves to be further humiliated at her own expense. I'm not trying to do it. I think she's doing it to herself. If you want to be nice, just use the dang pronouns. Yeah, it's not hard. Or, call them by their name. You could do that too. You could just avoid them. I don't know.